On this episode of Greece 2024, I have a fantastic 7-day itinerary for you to follow after your stay in Athens. If this is your first visit to Greece, the coming week will introduce you to 3 fascinating islands that are easy to get to from Athens. And each island has its own unique character that will blow your mind. We first travel by ferry from Pyrgos to Syros, the capital of the Cyclades Islands. We then cross to the island of Tinos, with its stunning villages, good food and unusual dovecotes. Our last stop is the party island of Mykonos, with its whitewashed town, dominated by the famous windmills. Our ferry trip to Syros starts at the port of Pyrgos. It's easy to reach from central Athens, but the port is big and confusing, so give yourself at least 90 minutes to find your ferry's gate and to check in. The journey takes between 2 and 4 hours, depending on the ferry company, the type of vessel and the weather conditions. Before we arrive in Syros, please hit the like button. If you're enjoying this video, subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications button so as not to miss future episodes. Arriving in Syros, the ferry docks at Ermoupoli, the main town, which has the largest natural harbour in the Cyclades Islands. Syros is the capital of the 34 Cyclades Islands, but its character is quite different to the other islands. Syros is not a party island. It gets no package tourists nor cruise ships. It's not overrun by tourists like some of its famous neighbours. Many people say this is the most authentic Greek island to visit. Thanks to its active community and vibrant cultural scene, Syros can be included with Cretan roads as a Greek island worth visiting even in winter. But if you visit Syros in the warmer months, the beaches here are great, with little coves and lovely summer houses, full of friendly Greeks who happily share their picnics with whoever is sitting next to them on the beach. To begin to appreciate this special island, I recommend staying on Syros a minimum of 3 days to see the main attractions and enjoy some of its charming beaches. To get around on Syros and Tinos, there are local buses linking the main towns, and they're the cheapest option. Of course, renting a car or motorbike will give you a lot more flexibility, whereas some people prefer taxis, which can work out quite reasonable if you're a small group. So, here is my 3-day itinerary for Syros. Day 1. Ermoupoli Ano Syros. For centuries, Syros was ruled and protected by Venice. As a result, Ermoupoli became an important centre for regional trade, which brought wealth with it. This is apparent in the town's neoclassical and Venetian architecture, which are not found anywhere else in the Cyclades Islands. The heart of Ermoupoli is Mykonos Square, where you'll find the impressive town hall and the Apollon Theatre, which is a miniature of the La Scala Theatre in Milan. Make sure to stroll around the town and take in the lovely mix of unique shops, boutiques and restaurants, and wander through Choria, the picturesque neighborhood where the nobles built their mansions. Then make your way up the hill through the narrow, winding streets to Ano Syros. This was the old capital of Syros before Ermoupoli was built. From the main square of Ano Syros, you'll find the best view of Ermoupoli and the port below. You'll find several cafes and restaurants with great views to enjoy while you sip a coffee or enjoy a meal. St. George's Cathedral crowning the hill has an amazing view of the neighbouring islands, Tinos, Delos, Mykonos, Paros, Andros and Naxos. If you've had enough of sightseeing, you can spend the afternoon at Kini, a pleasant sandy bay about 10 kilometers east of Ermoupoli. It has lovely tavernas, cafes and other facilities by the sea. For day 2, we visit Galassas and Posidonia. Galassas is a popular resort on the west of the island, with beach bars and tavernas. It has a lovely sandy beach on a large bay, and is said by many to be the best beach on Syros. If the weather is good, I wouldn't blame you if you decided to spend the rest of the day in this lovely bay. But if you can get yourself up, it's worth heading to Finikos and Posidonia, 2 sleepy fishing villages in the southwest of Syros. They both have small beaches, little shops, and tavernas where the fish is said to be excellent. On day 3, we spend the morning in Ermoupoli and in the afternoon visit Vari and Gialos. This morning, continue exploring the charm of Ermoupoli. The streets of Ermoupoli and Ano Syros are lined with shops offering designer labels, leather goods and fashionable jewellery. You'll also see art galleries and souvenir shops, and larger stores selling everything from clothes and sunglasses to household goods, making Ermoupoli popular with shoppers from other islands. Culture buffs must stop at the Kechrovouni Institute, a unique museum giving an insight into the rich cultural scene that blossomed after the Apollon Theatre opened in the mid-19th century. Also, see the church of Agios in Vaporia It's the church with the blue dome that you see as the ferry approaches the island. In the afternoon, head for the south coast to explore two seaside villages. Vari is about 8 kilometers from Ermoupoli. It has a pretty bay with sandy beach and tavernas. Along the road to Vari, you will have passed Limnos, one of Syros's most popular beaches. A few kilometers east of Vari, you'll find Gialos, a small bay with shallow, clear water that's perfect for children. The end of our 3 days in Syros means that it's time to set off for our next island, neighboring Tinos. The ferry crossing from Syros to Tinos takes just 35 minutes, and there's at least one crossing per day. Tinos is one of the lesser known of the Greek islands. With pretty villages, deep blue seas, good food, and a tradition of art and culture. It's also known for windmills, the unusual dovecotes, and marble sculptures. Tinos is right next door to the famous party island of Mykonos, but it rocks a much gentler vibe, and gentler prices too. The island has no airport, so tourists must make an extra effort to get here, and this helps keep the island unspoilt. Tinos is an important place of pilgrimage for the Greek Orthodox faithful. Every 15th of August, thousands of pilgrims arrive from all over Greece to participate in processions and rituals in Tinos town, making it the island's busiest time of year. So here's my suggested 3-day itinerary on Tinos. Day 1. Tinos town and Agios, Fokas beach. You step off the ferry in Tinos town, which is called Chora by the locals. It's a hub of activity, since everyone must pass through it when they arrive and depart. The waterfront curves around the harbour with fishing and leisure boats moored. Stroll along the water's edge, stopping at one of the many cafes for a drink, and watch the world go by. As you walk away from the sea and into the town, you'll find a maze of narrow streets, with whitewashed houses and blue doors and shutters. Lose yourself in the labyrinth, and you can always ask for directions from the friendly locals. You'll find tavernas and restaurants with outside seating on almost every corner. And tucked away in the back streets, there are countless small shops selling everything from trinkets to icons, making Tinos town one of the best places to shop for gifts and souvenirs. In the afternoon, a visit to the Church of the Panahia, meaning Virgin Mary, is a must to understand the soul of Tinos. The Panahia is the saint protector of Greece and is also the most important pilgrimage in the country. The church is located at the top of a long straight road leading down to the port. Many pilgrims cover the distance from the port to the church on their knees to keep a solemn promise to the Virgin Mary. Since the road is rough and their knees get hurt, a long red carpet is laid from the entrance to the church all the way to the port specifically for the pilgrims. Later, make your way to Agios Fokas Beach, one of the most beautiful beaches on Tinos. This beach is directly east of Chora, that is, Tinos town, and stretches for kilometers. The part of the beach closest to town has a variety of tourist facilities, bars and tavernas. On day 2, we travel to the center of the island. Drive to Choria village, on a hill about 10 kilometers northeast of Chora. It's one of the prettiest villages on Tinos, with a strong medieval character and a breathtaking view of the southern part of the island as well as neighboring islands. Choria is made up of white stone houses with colored windows and doors, stone-paved alleys and archways. It's a delight to explore. Not far from Choria, visit the Kechrovouni Monastery. It is said to be one of the largest and most beautiful monasteries in Greece and dates back to the 10th century. The monastery is built on a mountainside and has 7 chapels, a main church, and narrow alleyways to explore. The views are also breathtaking. Our next stop is Falatados, the second largest village on Tinos. With its imposing blue-roofed Cathedral of St. John, Falatados is renowned for its raki, the strong alcoholic drink. The village has several distilleries, and if you're visiting in September, the village celebrates its raki festival, called the Rakitsio. Less than 2 kilometers from Falatados is the tiny village of Volax. It only has a population of 53, but is one of the best-known villages in Tinos, due to scenic mountainous beauty and unusual rock formations that give it a unique moon-like landscape. Next, it's time to relax at Kolymbythra beach. Kolymbythra is a beautiful bay about 15 kilometers from Chora, on the north of the island. It consists of 2 equally beautiful beaches. When the Meltemi, the northeast wind blows, you sometimes see surfers on the water. The smaller beach offers plenty of facilities including snacks and refreshments, and a popular taverna. The larger beach is quieter and ideal for a peaceful swim and sunbathing. On the way home, visit the fascinating dovecotes near Tarambados. Tinos is famous for its intricately designed dovecotes. These structures are decorated with both geometric and non-geometric patterns. Pigeon breeding was introduced to Tinos when the Venetians arrived in the 13th century and has remained a tradition here. It was believed that elaborate patterns attract the pigeons. Most of these dovecotes are found in eastern and central parts of the island. On day 3, we visit the northeast of Tinos. We make our first stop at Kardiani, a beautiful village clinging to the slopes of Mount Partalis. The traditional architecture and winding cobbled streets make this one of the must-see villages on Tinos. It offers breathtaking views down the mountain. Stroll through the narrow alleys and stairs of the village, and you'll see marble springs, fountains and houses decorated with Tinos marble. Our next stop is the village of Pyrgos. Note that Google Maps calls it Panormos, which is actually the bay below Pyrgos. It is one of the largest villages of Tinos, and possibly one of the most beautiful of the entire Cyclades. The village boasts numerous marble creations made by the local craftsmen. Stroll the streets in which arches, churches and monuments are decorated in marble. The reason is that Tinos has huge marble quarries and produces the finest marble artwork in Greece. Many well-known artists study this special art form at the famous marble school in Pyrgos. Panormos Bay is located below Pyrgos and is our next stop. The bay has a pretty whitewashed village with a fine sandy beach on the left of the bay. It can get very windy here when the Meltemi wind is blowing, and it's therefore a favorite spot for windsurfers. Driving back south, stop at Ormos Isternion, also called Isternia Bay on the west coast. The village is known both for its beach and its fish restaurants. Right below the picturesque settlement, there's a pretty cove with soft sand and some pebbles. This bay is well sheltered from the Meltemi. So, now we have a difficult decision on our last evening in Tinos. Do we have dinner here at Isternia Bay, or drive back to Chora for sunset drinks in town? It's the next morning in Tinos town, and we're waiting for the ferry to Mykonos. Some of us will want to stay on Mykonos longer and experience this mecca for partygoers. Others, like me, will only want to spend the day here. Is a day trip possible? Absolutely. With regular ferry services running between the islands, a day trip to Mykonos is not just possible, it's a breeze. The journey from Tinos takes about half an hour, making it a swift and scenic ride across the Aegean. The beautiful Greek island of Mykonos, with its delightful white buildings and brilliant azure seas, is the star of an exciting debate. Some people say the island's rustic charm has been replaced by wild commercialism, with high-end boutiques, expensive restaurants and lively nightlife taking center stage. On the other hand, others believe that Mykonos is simply evolving, cleverly adapting to the tastes of the modern traveler and providing a spectacular fusion of the traditional and the contemporary. So, we have two contrasting takes on the vibrant evolution of Mykonos. The question now is, what does this mean for you, the traveler? If you're like me, you'll stop in Mykonos just for the day and take in the fascinating, brilliant white beauty of Mykonos town. Then, in the late afternoon, I'll move on, either to another island or back to Athens. Mykonos has an airport too, by the way, so you could even book a flight direct to cities all over Europe. Or maybe you're thrilled to experience the frenetic partying and plan to stay on for a few days. Just make sure you have a healthy balance on your credit cards, and you'll be fine. Once you step off the ferry, the island is your oyster. Start with a walk around Mykonos town, where the labyrinthine streets are brimming with charm. The town is easy to explore on foot. From the ferry, follow the crowds along the little beach road towards the town, and then just go for it. Go wherever the wind takes you. The town isn't enormous, so you'll find yourself passing through the same street a few times, and next time you'll just take a bend in another direction. To make the best of your day on Mykonos, aim to see and do all the things on the following list. 1. Get completely lost in the streets. 2. Climb up the hill to Boni's Windmill for a great view down over Mykonos town. 3. Take photos of the row of windmills at the edge of the town. 4. Visit Panaya Paraportiani Chapel in the Castro part of town. 5. See the view from Little Venice, where the Venetian merchants hung out long ago. 6. See the Manto Mavrogenes statue on its pretty square. 7. If time permits, visit the Archaeological Museum in the Old Port. Even in just a day, Mykonos promises an unforgettable experience. Whether or not it's too commercial, one thing is certain. Mykonos continues to captivate locals and tourists alike. But what's the final verdict on it being too commercial? Well, I think it's up to each and every one of us to decide. Our very own Mykonos experience. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and set the notifications so as not to miss further episodes of my travels through wonderful Greece. Until then, happy travels.